Hey guys, welcome to Executive Espresso on this really wonderful 4th of July. I hope you guys have your fireworks, the little pumps that you light them with. I hope that everybody's going to have a safe celebration today. But we're going to be talking about one of the things for which we celebrate the 4th of July, and that is truth. The ability, the opportunity, the right to tell the truth. And I'm really looking forward to a great conversation. Our guest is having some technical difficulties, so I'm not really sure if he's going to be able to make it. But as always, we're going to carry on, and it is wonderful to see you guys here today. Do me a favor, share out the live stream, invite some other people to come on. If you have a thought or a question, just drop that in the chat. I would love to respond to that, love to answer that. I really appreciate all the viewers from LinkedIn, all the viewers. Thank you for being here from Facebook. Of course, those viewers from my Mindset Masterclass who sponsors this, go over, join me, and over 200 other knowledge seekers, truth tellers at school.com/mindset. School is spelled SKOOL. School.com/mindset. People don't avoid the truth because they hate it. They really avoid it because it threatens the fairy tales that they're addicted to. So let's break that down for a few minutes. We'll be here for about the next 10, 12 minutes. Have a bit of a shorter episode today since our guest couldn't make it, but I do like to stay on a schedule. Think about telling the truth when it comes to being in a relationship. Some truths are really just hard, really hard to accept, but I think that they're harder to share. Now, I'm not talking about opinion. Opinion and truth are two very, very different things. There's no such thing as my truth, your truth, someone else's truth. There is simply truth, bare bones, down to the granite, down to the foundation. Everything else is just opinion. And so the first thing that's really, really important before you start sharing what you call truth is to ask yourself, now wait a minute, is this something that maybe a jury of 12 would agree on, or is this my opinion? Is this a desire that I have? Is this a rather that I would like to have? Is this a preference? Truth and preference, two very different things, and often we get confused in the fairy tale that they are the same. But we all struggle with telling truth. We all struggle with receiving truth. And one of those things in relationships are things that work and things that don't work. Relationships have a certain kind of mechanics, and they just don't work any other way. Now, there's wide varieties in relationships, of course, but there's certain mechanics that seem to work, and I've learned this in my career in behavioral health. For instance, how you talk to somebody. Courtesy, care, grace, and respect. Those are basic mechanics, basic truths in relationships. And though someone may accept you speaking to them in a way that is discourteous, it still doesn't mean it's a healthy thing to do. Just because someone doesn't seem to mind, or because they put up with something, doesn't mean that it's a healthy thing to do. And so we're also talking about truth in relationships with what works in relationships. A little bit later today, I'm gonna have a big family gathering. My grandmother Juanita's coming in for the 4th of July. She's 90 years old, my 90-year-old grandmother. And we're going to have my brother and I think my sister or two may come over, nieces and nephews and the whole shebang. And so one of those things that we have to do in relationships, I spoke of grace, care, and courtesy, is it is a truth that you don't have to speak every thought on your mind. It's just the way it is. People that think that they have to speak everything on their mind, well, that's going to lead to relationship conflict and the degradation of that relationship. However, the other side is also true, and that is you do need to share where you stand on some very important issues. But as they always say, pick those battles. because it's kind of a tug of war between the two. Sharing too little or sharing too much. Getting over fixated on some things and not fixating enough on the important things. As Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. And my dad used to talk to me about majoring on the minors and minoring on the majors. And when it comes to truth, that's a major thing. That's a major thing. And so we're talking about truth, not fairy tales, truth, not opinion, truth, not perspective. Those are very, very different things. And so the problem just isn't in that we sometimes don't share the truth with others. We often don't even share the truth or accept the truth for ourselves. And, I've sat with clients over 30 to 40 years. We all do it. CEOs, creators, parents, community leaders. And we talked about them being stuck. And one of the things that is most likely to get you stuck in your life is a bit of an allergy to just hearing the truth about yourself. For instance, what do you tell yourself when you look in the mirror? Now, be very careful how you answer that question, because people usually go one or two ways. They tell themselves things that they know are not true, and that can be negative or positive. We all give ourselves permission to do things that we ought not. And we fibbed ourselves and we say that it's okay. But then there are other folks that the only thing that they tell themselves are the downers, the shortcomings, the flub ups, the missteps. And so an over focus either way is simply not the truth. Be accurate, but tell yourself the truth about your capabilities, but also tell yourself the truth about where you need to improve. The human mind is never really stuck. It just doesn't like the truth required to get it moving forward in a predictable way. Let's be honest for a minute. We all have our favorite fibs that we tell ourselves. I'm too busy to be fit. I'm too busy to eat a nutritious meal. I'm too busy to get on the floor and play with the kids. I'm too busy to do this honeydew that my spouse, or in my case, my wife, wants me to do. It's just not the right time. I know I need to apologize to somebody, but it's just not the right time. I know I need to light the spark on that business deal, but it's not time. When really what we're doing is we're fibbing to ourselves and avoiding. Hey, Nadira, my dear, it is good to see you here. Fabulous to have you in the live stream today. We have a little over 200 people here, so invite some friends. If you have some questions about this topic in your life, then just put it up there in the chat. I'll bring it on the screen and we'll talk about it. We'll be here for about the next 8 minutes. Then I got to run. We got the big 4th of July celebration with my grandmother coming. It's just not the right time. So I'm too busy. It's just not the right time. Number 3, I'm protecting my peace. Well, often, again, this is just another term for avoidance. I did a subscriber-only space. I have a subscriber-only spaces over on X. And so if you guys want a deeper dive, you can go over there and join as a subscriber. But we do that every Friday morning. We talked about friction. The thing about friction in life that people get wrong is missing out on considering what would life be like without friction. Imagine a NASCAR driver zooming around a track at, 180, 200 miles an hour, and there's no friction. The race would be over pretty quick. And imagine friction in relationships. What if you had no friction in a relationship? Well, I would present to you that you would have a much more shallow relationship. What if everything came easy to you in business? I present to you that I think you would innovate less, and you would discover less, and you would therefore have less success. And so it's not really about just protecting your peace. It is about avoidance. Ask yourself when you're saying, I'm protecting my peace, what am I trying to escape? What is it that I'm telling myself is such a catastrophe if I have a moment where my peace is less than I prefer? Hey there, Square Bear. You guys check out Square Bear's account. She does some wonderful live streams. She is so much better at this than I am, but go over and check her out on the X platform. And then finally, I'm just a perfectionist. I'm just a perfectionist. Now let's break that apart for a moment. Yes, I get it. A lot of folks really make a big deal about everything having to have a place and everything being in its place. But isn't that just also another form of avoidance? Isn't the real truth still what you're trying to run away from? Ask yourself again, when you're caught up in this perfectionistic mindset, what are you saying no to? What successes are you leaving on the table? What are you trying to get away from? What is the real danger here? It is always better in the end to have a complete life instead of having a perfect life. A complete life, not a perfect life. I was thinking about today, this 4th of July thing. We try to get everything ready. It's going to be right out there on my outdoor kitchen pad. We swept, we picked up trash, we tried to get everything in order. But you know, there's always going to be something that we missed. There's always going to be some little thing that we could have done better. But you know, I find that looking back on things years later, that I don't remember those things. I really don't remember the downturns as much as I remember those precious moments in the relationship where we just got to have a conversation, where we just got to connect, that we just got to talk about things we've accomplished in since the last time we got together, things that we want to do in the future, and all the little nitty-gritty things, all those little minor things that we so often major on really were never that big of a deal to begin with. So here's the truth. Let's talk about motivation, because there's a lot of misinformation about motivation on the internet. Motivation is not an emotion. Motivation is based in having a proper motive. And so ask yourself, what am I looking to accomplish in this project? Perfection, I know that'll never happen. Or doing the best that I could do. What am I trying to accomplish in this relationship? Perfection, that'll never happen. But a connection, yes, I can manage that. What are we trying to accomplish here today in my family, with people coming in from, all 4 directions, east, west, north, and south. We'll see how it goes. What we're trying to accomplish is, again, just spending time together. And at the end of the day, we will have spent time together. So motivation is based in a motive. Now, here's the thing, though. That motive can be in a healthy direction, or that motive can be in a unhealthy direction. It's up to us to decide to point our motives in the proper direction. And so here's an action step. Write down today some of these fairy tales that you've been telling yourself. Maybe it's, I don't speak up because I'm a deep thinker. Well, risk it. And by the way, I was thinking about this live stream before I came on air today about that one thing, telling the truth. A lot of people think that telling the truth or speaking accurately can only be done with if you risk being rude. I don't think you have to risk being rude. You can start it out with something like this. I don't know what you guys think, but in my mind, it seems to be this way. What do you think about it? You see, isn't that a lot less harsh than thinking that you have to cram some truth down someone's throat? Here's a quick tip from cognitive neuroscience. that the more pressure you put on a point, the more active a person's limbic system becomes, because they view your presentation of truth as a threat. Even though your presentation of truth is right on point, even though most everybody in the world would agree with your presentation of this truth, if you're too forceful with it, people will actually run the other way. So the first step, again, as we started out the live stream, we'll conclude it, is telling the truth to yourself. Maybe the truth is, I don't speak up because I think there's going to be a fight. I don't speak up because I'm afraid people are going to criticize me, and I can't take criticism. I can't take objections. I can't take anyone disagreeing with me. Well, the new motive may be truth matters more than approval, but truth can honor the relationship, and the relationship can be honed to honor the truth. And so there really is an art to it in today's digital world, where I can just pick up this thing and shoot off a low contact text. But what about on the big important issues in your life, considering instead of texting someone, if you can, get face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball, toe-to-toe, knee-to-knee, and just have a conversation. Truth has often been traded for comfort in our world today. That at all costs, if someone's going to be uncomfortable, we have to cover up the truth, hide the truth. But truth doesn't have to be as messy as we think that it is. It can be used in a kind and courteous way, and it's all about the packaging. It's all about the presentation. So think it through. Think it through clearly where what you're going to say holds up. And then even though no one's going to clap for it, share your thoughts, but do it in a kind, courteous way. By the way, a few quick tips. Sometimes when you say less, people hear more. So you don't have to go on and on about it. Question your own narrative before repeating it to other people. Try it out in your head a lot. I do this all the time. I'll think about a thought. I'll think about things that I like to share with people, sometimes for hours, days, weeks, months, and sometimes even years. And finally, the truth is not a weapon. It's not a weapon. The truth should be glue for a relationship. Instead of weaponizing it and trying to use it to step on people, put them down, or criticize them, ask yourself, how can I share this truth in a way that connects us, doesn't separate us? It's so great to see you guys here today. If I can ever be of help, reach out. I hope you guys have a wonderfully safe 4th of July. Be careful with the fireworks. Hey, a quick pet-friendly tip. Animals are really, really terrified of loud noises, and they will run off. One of the biggest times of year for pets to go missing is 4th of July. And so if there's going to be a lot of fireworks where you live, consider putting your kitty cat or your puppy dog or whatever it is runs around your yard in the house and keep them safe. And that way they won't run off in the woods. This happened to my neighbor last year. It was an all points bulletin to find this poor puppy dog who had ran about 50 yards into the woods, and we found her just crouched down, hiding behind a fallen log, And so just be aware. And as always, once again, all the humans out there, you guys be safe, but take care of those furry family members as well. Great to see you as always. We'll catch you next time. Happy 4th of July.